morning, dear hearts. We are now in lesson 102. Please subscribe. So today's lesson is I share God's will for happiness for me. You know, yesterday was God's will for me is perfect happiness, not just happiness, perfect happiness. And today we're going, yes, I share that. I want that as well. I am definitely signing up for that. Today's lesson, and we'll bring in a few of our previous first 50 into today's lesson, just in little bits and pieces. First of all, the lesson begins, you do not want to suffer. In lesson 41, that God goes with me wherever I go, we basically were told we can't suffer. We cannot suffer because the source of all joy goes with you wherever you go. You cannot suffer because of that. Suffering is truly impossible. And yes, we don't want to. And it says you may think suffering buys you something and may still believe a little that it buys you what you want. Yet this belief is surely shaken now, at least enough to let you question it and suspect it really makes no sense, and suffering doesn't make any sense. And it has not gone as yet, our belief that suffering might yet yield something for us, but it lacks the roots. The belief now lacks the roots that once secured it tightly to the dark and hidden secret places of your mind. Our separated mind has these shadow spots, these dark spots where no light is, so nothing can grow. No true thoughts can grow because nothing really grows in the dark. But going back to this also, in lesson 20 that I am determined to see, we were told that, we do have difficulty distinguishing between joy and sorrow and pleasure and pain. So we might think that pain is actually pleasure or suffering is actually joy. But those beliefs, even a little bit, are not quite as strong as they once were. They don't have the deep roots that we began the year with. Our mind is not totally untrained anymore. The lesson goes on to say, today we try to loosen its weakened hold still further and to realize that pain is purposeless. There's no reason for it. It cannot give us anything. And it says, without a cause and with no power to accomplish anything, it cannot purchase anything. It cannot give us anything. There are no rewards to believing in suffering, to believing in pain. And everything you think it offers you is lacking in existence. Now it says, be you free today to join the happy will of God. And in lesson 28, that above all else I want to see, we were told that if we just withdraw our own ideas and our own belief system, then we will be shown what indeed has infinite value and is full of happiness. All we need to do is now consider the possibility that what the ego is offering us is nothing, and there's nothing there that we want to pursue. Now it says, for several days we will continue to devote our periods of practicing to exercises planned to help you reach the happiness that God's will has placed in you. Here is your home, and here your safety. Here is your peace, and here there is no fear. Here is salvation. Here is happiness, and here is rest at last. And I have an acronym for rest, which is remain eternally still today. And in stillness, we truly will rest. And now we are doing the 5 minutes on the hour, and in between times we will remember these phrases. I share God's will for happiness for me, and I accept it as my function. My happiness and my function are one. Okay, that wasn't in the first 50, but it applies here, and it's true. And then it says, then seek this function deep within your mind, for it is there, and it's awaiting but your choice. This is for us to decide, and we want to decide with God. Now, going into the text on a Foundation for Inner Peace book. It's on page 280. There is this wonderful phrase, a paragraph, well, sentences, that I've used before, and I will again because it's absolutely perfect, and it's reassuring, and it tells us that when you have learned how to decide with God, so decide with God for your happiness, for our happiness, all decisions become as easy and as right as breathing. Easy breath in, easy breath out. There's no effort, and you will be led as gently as if you were being carried down a quiet path in summer. And this is what we do today. We share, we decide for God's will, for happiness for us. And then the last paragraph here says, be happy, for your only function here is happiness. My happiness and my function are one. Again, that was lesson 66. You have no need to be less loving to God's Son than he whose love created him as loving as himself. That we are, and we can say this as the golden rule, that we do unto others as we would have others do unto us. But let's say we do unto our brothers as God has done to us, to give and show us how great his love and his happiness is for us. That's a bird outside, a limpkin. And so it says, besides these hourly 5-minute rests, pause frequently today to tell yourself that you have now accepted happiness as your one function. And be sure that you are joining with God's will in doing this. God's will for me is perfect happiness. I share in God's will, and I will extend and share that with everyone else, the entire sonship, all that I meet, whether I know them or whether I do not, whether they're awake, whether they're asleep, whether they still believe in pain and suffering, or whether they have awakened to joy and happiness. We share with everyone. So that's it for today. Please like, please share, please subscribe, please comment, please pray. Pray for this joy of happiness to be shared with all of us, the entire sonship, the entire world, and let's see the change. Be the change. Pray for the change. Namaste.